Hello and welcome to another episode of the Monday Night Wars. It is June 2nd, 1996, and we may again have one of the worst episodes of Raw ever. I'm with Joseph. Joseph, how are you doing?
Well, I feel horrible because of this allergy problem, and Scott has basically not allowing me to not record this one. He's just being a complete slave driver right now. So I'm going to do it, but I'm begrudgingly doing it.
I do it for the fans.
Also, let's just be honest. He was like, "Hey, man, do you really want to do the next one? We could totally stop doing it." And I was like, "You're a bitch. No, we're doing it."
I'm a bitch. I'm a lover. I'm a child. I'm a mother. I'm a son. I'll keep going.
That's a good song, dude. That's
a good song.
Yeah.
That's the 90s for you youngins, which is when this program was on television that you know nothing about. Anyways. They probably didn't even watch Full House. I don't even know these people. Anyways, that's our next one. That's our next pod, TGI Fridays. Not the restaurant. The fantastic programming block in the 90s that had Full House, Family Matters. I'm blanking on some of the other ones, but good stuff.
Does TGI Fridays still exist?
I don't think they do it on Fridays anymore. They like moved around.
No. I mean the restaurant.
Oh, the restaurant? I think they closed a lot of them. I think.
Yeah, I felt like it was like a bankrupt situation.
Maybe. No, just because you go bankrupt doesn't mean you're gone, though. Like Red Lobster went bankrupt and they're back. So they might have. Typically, what happens is they go bankrupt, they close all of their underperforming stores, and they just have like a much smaller footprint, but like stores that actually make money, and then they try to grow again. It's kind of amazing how a lot of these places from the 90s, those kind of fast, casual, sit down restaurants that just all have imploded, and Chili's just endures.
Yeah,
Chili's is forever.
Chili's and Applebee's, they will never go.
Yeah, they're eternal.
We lost Sizzler, bro.
Yeah,
we lost Sizzler.
Oh, I got a Sizzler.
You have a Sizzler?
I got a Sizzler,
bro. You're like that city that had the last freaking Blockbuster and that finally just closed. That's you with Sizzler.
I got a steak joint. I am so perfectly placed. I bought my house perfect because any direction I go, I got a reasonably priced steak joint.
Can I just say that I disagree with you saying that you bought your house perfect?
Because it's not in Texas.
I was just gonna say because it's not next to me.
That's true, but I mean, you could move. There's still a house for sale in my neighborhood, bro. And you said this raggedy thing's the problem.
House? Is it the same house?
They're never gonna friggin' sell that house. It's a terrible location. They're never gonna sell that house.
What makes that a terrible location?
It's next to the models, and they did a bunch of like greenery around the models, but to the point where it is a nightmare getting your car in and out of that driveway. Like you have to hook it hard or back in to get in. It's just like, and in my neighborhood, you have to park in your garage. It's the rule. It's the HOA rule. And so I would look at that and like, you've got to park. And I'm gonna have to back in every night. No, I'm not doing that. It's not worth it to me. It's not worth it to me. But I got a Sizzler. I got a Black Angus. I've got a Texas Roadhouse. I got them all, man. So next time you come, I'll take you to the Sizzler.
That's beautiful, man.
We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do a pod live from the Sizzler.
I don't know. Sizzler don't have no Dino Chicken Nuggets anymore, so
I mean, we'll bring them. We'll bring them. I'll put money on the table and say get them some Dino Chicken Nuggets.
If you guys want to hear a great Dino Chicken Nugget story, which I'm not telling unless you guys ask for it, let me know, and then I will tell it on the pod.
Okay, email us. Tell us you want to hear the Dino Chicken Nugget story because it actually is a pretty funny story. I've heard it. I can vouch for it. But we're 5 minutes in and haven't talked about wrestling yet.
Well, we don't really want to talk about one of the things, do we?
No, we don't want to talk about Raw because, again, every week I say, I think this might be the worst one ever, and you go, no, it's not the worst one. The worst one ever is the one we said was the worst one ever. And then I asked you before we started this podcast, I said, is this the worst one ever? And you said it might be.
I said it might be, and I also said I'm not going to go back and watch the other one to compare.
But the point is, you normally say, no, this is not the worst one ever. And this time you're like, nah, this one might be. So that's what we've got looking forward to. So let's get into it. We are at the Hera Arena in Dayton, Ohio for WCW Nitro. The Steiners interrupt Tony and Larry. And Rick's just like, the fuck, Sting? Like, what was that all about? Because last week, if you don't remember, Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner had been apparently touring Japan and had no idea of anything that was going on back at WCW. And when they get back, Rick's like, the hell's Sting up in the rafters for? What is going on here? Sting didn't take too kindly to that and gave him the Scorpion Death Drop. And so now Rick's back to say, the fuck, Sting? Which probably is not going to go well for Rick in hindsight. Did you have any thoughts on this?
I actually thoroughly enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. I also like that, like, Scott, he has something he wants to say, but he just mumbles through the whole thing. So you really have to kind of go like, what did he say? What did he say? We know he's threatening Sting after Sting attacked his brother. We know that. And then Rick has his turn to say what he wants to, but he also mumbles through the whole thing between him and Sting. And it's honestly really funny. But beyond just being funny, it also is like, this storyline wise, this makes sense. This is the natural progression of whatever this story is. So I'm fine with it. It's very quick, to the point, and I gave it a B.
And it gets us a Sting match.
Yep.
Kinda?
Yeah, if you could call it that. Yeah.
Kinda? But you gotta wait for that. Because at first we got Glacier and Hard Body Harrison in a match that goes 1 minute and 2 seconds. What'd you make of this? I liked Glacier. I don't like what they're doing with Glacier.
I gave this an F. I have nothing to say about this. This is WWF level bad.
Yeah, I feel like I gave a pretty epic rant last week about structure and how WWF doesn't understand that, like, you got to start hot and you got to end hot. WCW forgot the plot this week too. Because
it's crazy, because I was watching WCW and I said to myself, because this WCW is not great, and hopefully we'll make it entertaining. But I said to myself, is this the potential first week that WWF wins? Because they just have to put on a decent show. And
nope.
then they put on the worst show. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me, because it's not a great WCW.
That's the thing. Like, even when WCW is not good, it's still better than Raw. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, they talk about the Cincinnati Bengals because they're in Dayton, Ohio. Apparently,
I thought Cincinnati was where it was in Canada. That's where Brian Pillman's from. That's
a different Cincinnati.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's Cincinnati, Manitoba. I don't know.
Oh, that's great.
It's fine. He was trained by Stu Hart. I'm okay with it.
I know, but it's hilarious.
I know you love making that joke, but I'm like, whatever. But it does kind of it does cause an issue story-wise in 97 when the entire Hart Foundation's gimmick is that we hate Americans. And you've got Brian Pillman there. Like, that's like, right now I'm like, I don't care, whatever. He's trained by Stu Hart Foundation, it's fine. But when you get there, it's like, but you guys know that Brian's from Cincinnati, right? We've seen his house. He lives in America.
Yeah, but Brian is good people. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If you ever want to know people, if a white person is racist when they're talking about someone who isn't of the same race, if they describe that person as a good person, if they go, he's good people, that means they don't normally like that race.
You're good people, Joseph. You're good people. But anyways, the Cincinnati Bengals apparently like the NWO. That's what I'm told. Can you believe it? I mean, Joe Burrow, the way Joe Burrow's looking with that hair, with that kind of bleach blonde with the black streaks through it, that's pretty NWO.
Was Joe Burrow alive during this?
If he was like, that's me.
I gotta look up his birthday.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep going. I'll keep going while you looking up his birthday, while you Googling. I'll set up the next.
Joe Burrow was born 8 days after this episode of Nitro.
Bro, Nitro willed him into being. They said Cincinnati Bengals love NWO, and Joe Burrow said, I'm here.
I'm convinced now that's Scott Hall's kid.
Oh, that's a big point. Wow, yeah, that's a pretty fast gestation, 8 days.
Yo, Scott Hall can do whatever the hell he wants, man.
He walked up to someone and said, "Hey, yo," and then she was 9 months pregnant. It's weird. It's just crazy how that works. I mean, he's a good looking man though. He's very tall, and Scott Hall is very like 70s attractive because he is hairy like a motherfucker. That's what the 70s all about, bro. Scott Hall. Scott Hall in the 70s. Ooh. Anyways, you don't go up there to fish. Let's talk about the program, shall we? The Amazing French Canadians, who I'm okay with. I'm okay with them. They're a tag team. They've got tag team moves. I'm a simple man. I'm a simple man. That's all I want. So who we got against them? Who else we got? Renegade and Joe Gomez. What the fuck? Tell me about this with and also the Amazing French Canadians. I do appreciate that Colonel Robert Parker with the Amazing French Canadians now is like a French. He's in a French outfit. I like that he's leaning in. I got to give him credit for that. But also, I don't like it. 3 minutes 16 seconds. What do you think?
I gave it a C minus. It's just a tag team jobber match. There's really nothing to say. French Canadians, they win incredibly easily.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because I feel like you and I both kind of like Renegade and Joe Gomez as
Renegade. I'm whatever with. I liked Joe Gomez, but like they don't like Joe Gomez.
Joe Gomez, good people. I don't understand why they don't see that though. Anyways, after that we got Mean Gene with Arn for an interview. Arn just Arn's like, hey man, I beat Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Not once, but twice. Yeah, so he's like, so I don't know what everyone's big issue is. I don't know what Rowdy. I kind of like that too. He's throwing shade on Rowdy Piper. So I don't know what Rowdy Piper's issue is. I beat the guy. Not a big deal.
Well, he doesn't really throw shade on Piper because what he says is that the perception that Hogan has created is that no one can beat him. But he did it twice in a row, right? And Hogan's perception is that he will walk over Piper. Flair told him that the hardest fight he ever had was with Roddy Piper. And he didn't believe it. But Piper didn't have fear in his eyes when he called out the NWO. Hogan and the NWO took their best shot, but Piper is ready to give them a receipt. Piper is more man, has more guts, more heart, and he's a better wrestler. He's more everything. Arn's actually right about this. Like everything he just said is right. Arn says that the Horsemen will have Piper's back at Starrcade. I gave this an A. It was phenomenal from Arn.
He's also made some good movies. Roddy Piper has, which Hulk Hogan
I thought you meant Arn.
Man, Arn, I don't know. His movies are probably like police cam footage of him shooting home invaders or some shit with his Glock. No, Roddy Piper, man, he's actually made some good movies, which Hulk Hogan cannot say. I'm thinking, has Hulk Hogan been in a single movie that I'm like, that's okay. That movie was okay.
Yes.
What?
Yes, he has.
What?
He's been in 2 good movies.
Tell me.
First one's Rocky 3.
Oh, that's true. That is true. I stand corrected.
And the second one is Muppets from Space.
Oh, man, I stand corrected.
Those are the only ones.
Corrected. Yeah, but he's not the main character. That's yeah.
Because he was in them for 3 minutes. That was it.
Roddy Piper has been in good movies that he carried where he was the main character. Like They Live is one of my favorites. I love it. I love all John Carpenter movies, even the bad ones. And They Live is a good one for the record. It's not one of the bad ones. And Roddy Piper fantastic in it and gave us the iconic line of I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Yeah.
That's where that came from, man.
Yeah. He's also in an episode of It's Always Sunny where he plays an old wrestler that they all love and they're trying to put on a wrestling show. And he I think he scams them out of their money and stuff. And he's hilarious. He's great.
He's perfect for Roddy Piper is the perfect wrestler to have on Always Sunny.
Yeah. He is. And he absolutely makes it work. I have a buddy who's a huge Always Sunny fan. And the minute that he popped up on my screen, I just texted him, you never fucking told me this had Roddy Piper in it. I would have watched it way sooner.
There you go. Well, The Simpsons have Bret Hart in it.
Anyways.
After that, though, we got the Faces of Fear. That's a tag team. They do tag team moves. We like them. Well, you don't like them anymore, but I like them. But they up against Scotty Riggs and Robert Gibson.
Yep.
Is this the New American Males? What is this?
It's either the New American Males or it's the New Rock and Roll Express. I don't know which one.
Pick your poison. 7 minutes, 41 seconds.
This is a wild idea for a tag team. Just insane. Also, and look, I'm about to say something that's incredibly mean, okay? But just know it comes from a place of love.
Jesus.
Robert Gibson looks like Perry the Platypus when he's just a house pet.
Why? Why?
Dude, if you take a photo of Robert Gibson and you take a photo of house pet Perry the Platypus, You don't know which one's different.
We like Rock and Roll Express. What are you doing?
And I like Perry the Platypus, so it all works out.
So it's all good then. It's all good.
A platypus? Perry the Platypus? Anyways, great show. This is so stupid.
My God.
Got off the rails.
Delirious with fever and allergies over here.
They try to work like a tag team, but they just have zero chemistry. This match itself isn't very good, and the Faces of Fear win. Then Scotty Riggs takes a chair to both men. Gave it a C. It's not like, well, I said it's not very good. It's not bad by any stretch. It's just kind of like, meh, okay, whatever. Also, I don't know why he took a chair to them, and then they just kind of leave.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I'm scared. I don't know what's happening tonight. Like, this is... Nitro's not great tonight.
No.
So let's see what they got on Saturday Night 605.
Probably a better show knowing them.
And let me give you the card. Let me give you the card if I will. Okay. Arn Anderson.
Okay, love it.
Steven Regal.
That's the match?
No, they're in it. They're there.
Okay.
Face of Fear going to be there. They just listed everyone that was going to be on the show. Face of Fear, Chris Jericho, Rick Steiner, Bunkhouse Buck, whatever. Jeff Jarrett, Kevin Sullivan. Like, you and I are not huge Kevin Sullivan fans, but if he's in a brawler match, we're fine.
Yeah.
You know, like that card minus Bunkhouse Buck, who honestly is not a bad wrestler. That's a better card than we got tonight.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. But speaking of Kevin Sullivan, we're now doing this uncomfortable angle of the disintegration of his marriage, where the woman leaves him for Chris Benoit, which, in hindsight, I don't know if that was the right answer. But Kevin Sullivan's also not a great piece of work either. So poor woman was damned if she did and damned if she didn't. In hindsight, but we get some footage from a house show where Benoit and Sullivan were going at it, because they're fighting now, and dude, you know, remember that match though where they fought in a urinal? That was cool though. They show that too. Like, I did enjoy that, but it's like, why are we doing this storyline? Because didn't we kind of already do this and now we're doing it again? This is not the first time the woman leaving.
It's kind of continued, and yeah.
But
they kind of drop it, and then they go back.
What do you make of this?
This is a showcase. Have we even gotten into the match yet? Have we even gotten to that?
No.
Okay.
But we're going to.
I'm fine with the recap, I guess. I don't think we needed it, though. I feel like everyone kind of knows what's going on between them.
Well, but that leads to our match, as you rightfully noted, which Kevin Sullivan beats Jobber of the Week, KC Sunshine. The band is nowhere to be seen, however. 2 minutes, 1 second. What?
This is a showcase to tell us how vicious Sullivan is. Mean Gene interviews Sullivan after the win. Sullivan says he thought he was the greatest chess player in the sport. He hurt Benoit physically, but later that night, Benoit hurt him mentally. He means Benoit banged his wife. Then Sullivan says,
We don't know that.
I mean, look, we know that they cheated anyways. So,
oh my God.
So then Sullivan says, let me tell you a story. There's a lot of you in me, but sometimes that sweetness wears off. One of us will be buried alive. Now the equation equals 3. None of that was a story, by the way. None of that was cohesive. All of this was a waste.
This all makes me so uncomfortable. This makes me so uncomfortable. Let's move on, because I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this angle. Because I'll fucking cry again on the pod. I never cried. Shut up. Anyways, WCW Cruiserweight Championship, Dean Malenko, Billy Kidman. Okay, this has got to be a good match, right?
It actually is.
Yay! 5 minutes, 50 seconds. Tell me.
I like Billy Kidman, but this whole night is jobbers. That's what we've had the entire time. Billy Kidman is not established yet. We know Billy Kidman, but he's not that guy yet, right? However, apparently the WCW Executive Committee has declared that they and only they have the power over titles, not Eric Bischoff. The Giant is not the champion just because he has the belt. A new champ will be crowned at Starrcade, hence the tournament. Of the jobber matches of the night, however, this is the best thus far, and I'm sure for probably the night. Malenko lets Kidman showcase his abilities like he has not had the chance to do yet. Sonny Ono flashes Malenko with his camera flash, and a blinded Malenko is prone on the mat. Kidman hits the shooting star press, but Malenko pulls up his knees, and Kidman lands on his knees. As Kidman rides on the mat, Malenko locks in the Texas Cloverleaf for the win. This was a thoroughly entertaining match. Yeah, it's only 5 minutes, but I gave it a B, especially in comparison to everything else we just watched before this.
Absolutely. It's, obviously Billy Kidman's not there yet. Like you said, he's still kind of in the jobber realm. So he is kind of a jobber of the week for all intents and purposes, but he's so much better than the other ones. And you're right. Dean lets him go, and they have a pretty fun back and forth, even though it's not that long. Hour number 2, Tony, Bobby, Mike Tenay. No Eric. Eric not doing commentary anymore because he's bad. He's a bad man.
Well, that's kind of a foreshadow.
Whoa. After that, hold on, I got to check and make sure I didn't miss Lee Marshall. Okay, no, I haven't missed Lee Marshall because I know I'm going to get in trouble because I'm like, I feel like we should have had Lee Marshall by now. So I had to check my notes and make sure, because if I don't, I will get in so much trouble from Joseph.
Absolutely.
To the point now where I make a point. It's the only thing I watch for now is the Lee Marshall segment. I fast forward. I just do it at double speed until I get to Lee Marshall, and then I really focus on every word. Next match, though, we're not there yet. Next match, though, is Jeff Jarrett and Big Bubba. 2 guys we've actually heard of, and they wrestle for less time than Dean Malenko and Billy Kidman, which is honestly fine.
Yeah.
4 minutes, 9 seconds. Tell me.
There is an oddly hilarious moment in this where Jimmy Hart mimics Jeff Jarrett by doing his strut outside the ring. Jeff Jarrett goes to club Jimmy Hart, but Big Bubba hits him from behind. Hart grabs Jarrett and Bubba swings, but Jarrett dodges and Hart takes the punch. Eventually, the megaphone of Hart's comes into play, because of course it was going to, and naturally it goes into Big Bubba's face instead of Jeff Jarrett's. Jeff Jarrett picks up the win, and this was a thoroughly entertaining 4 minutes. I enjoyed every bit of it. I gave it a B.
Not a bad match. And is it the first? I gotta look at the card again. Is it the first one we've had 2 people we've actually heard of?
Yes.
So there you go. After that, the Steiner brothers come back out, and they said, "Hey, Sting, you gonna take Rick up on his challenge? Are we gonna fight tonight?" I kind of loved how simple this was.
Yes.
And then Sting just gives the nod.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh, that's so hot. That's so hot.
No mic, no, he doesn't have to say anything. He doesn't have to go on a diatribe. He just looks at them and he just nods. And that's it.
It's good. We got a match.
Yeah, that was an A for me for sure.
Remember how I said no Eric Bischoff on the commentary table?
I do remember that.
Well, they're coming. It's Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Eric Bischoff. And Six and Vincent there too, but they go away. They come out and they say it's our commentary table now. They take over. What did you make of this?
I like
Eric Bischoff talks a lot of shit about WWF in it. And I was like, why are we doing this again? Go ahead.
Well, he's going to. I do like this. I think from this point on, really from the Sting point on, the show becomes a much better show. And which is kind of their strategy. I've been saying this for a while. Like, clearly hour number 2 is the one they care about. Hour number 1, just kind of like throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. Hour number 2 is significantly better. Hall and Nash congratulate Sting for sporting black and white, which I think was fantastic. Bischoff says there was no way the NWO could miss the Sting match. They got to support their boy, which I think, again, is fantastic. Bischoff says that he is Roddy Piper's best friend. He was trying to save him from a beatdown, like that tub of guts Big Van Vader, like the Nature Boy, and like the Nacho Man Randy Savage. Nash says there's only one icon, Hollywood Hogan. Bischoff tells Piper to stay home as we head to our next match. This whole bit, I gave a B+. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I like when they go on commentary. Like these 3, they're really good at it.
I thought it was good. Again, the WWF stuff, I'm like, whatever. They even show some clips from like Slamboree where Hogan beats up on Vader. I'm like, come on, guys, do we really need this? But other than that, I liked it. I thought it was good. I think you're right. This hour number 2 must be when they're unopposed, when Raw's off.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
So this is where they want the ratings. This is where they want you clicking over, because they're like, we're fighting with them in the first 2, whatever. We're going to win some, we're going to lose some. But this second hour, you're all us. We're unopposed. We're going to show you better stuff. And you're like, this is so much better than the dog shit I just watched on Raw. And it is. It's a word I use a lot on this program, and it's true. I think that's a good marketing strategy. I think that's smart.
I agree. Yeah.
We get another match of people I've heard of, Joseph. We get Eddie Guerrero and Squire David Taylor. So that's exciting, right?
It
2
is.
minutes, but 2 minutes, 16 seconds. These are short matches.
They are. Well, I think you said last week that like this week they're gonna have like a record for the amount of matches.
Oh yeah. Hold on, let me tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 matches. That's an insane number of matches in 2
All right.
hours.
You heard it here first, folks. The record is 11.
We think.
If we've had them a week before where they had more than 11, it doesn't count. This is the record.
There it is.
Exist.
Actually, there were 12 matches. No.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. Yeah. It's from this point on, okay?
Yeah.
And if you go, well, what happened in 2001? We haven't gotten there yet, so it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
See how the logic works?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Just making it up as we go along.
The NWO basically are seemingly using the rest of the night to scout new NWO talent, which I actually really liked. Hall says they should think international. They all dig sushi. Nash says Hogan can pound some sushi. Sushi must be the name of the wife of his friend Saki. It's such a stupid joke.
Yep.
Also, no fucking way Hogan eats sushi. There's no way he eats sushi. Eddie Guerrero hits the frog splash for the win, and the ref leaps over both of them into a slide for the 1-2-3 count. It was genuinely amazing. And you see it a couple times on replay. I'm like, how the hell did he do that? It was awesome. When their music hits, Hall says, cue the porno music. My God, Scott Hall. Match was good, and in-character commentary was honestly great. I gave this an A. I actually loved every bit of this.
Well, the in-character stuff continues because we're on the road with Lee Marshall, and he phones in a masterpiece, I feel, on this one, because he has to talk to the NWO. He's calling from Charlotte, where they're having a Nitro party, but he's got to talk to the NWO, and he's not happy about it. He's not happy about it at all. There are some great back and forths. Nash asks if he's live from Arn Anderson's double wide trailer.
I'm glad you wrote that down because I didn't write that one down.
Yeah.
That was so
holy
good.
Shit. Marshall says Ric Flair in Charlotte is like the Beatles in Liverpool, to which Hall replies, you mean old and outdated?
It was so good.
Oh my God.
I cried. I replayed it like 3 times. I was like, God damn, dude.
Whole segment was great. Another Lee Marshall masterpiece. What did you think?
My note here is Scott Hall, I love you, but don't be fucking with Lee Marshall. Flair and the Beatles in the same sentence, Scott Hall. Just ask Faces of Fear how that goes when they attack my boys. Anyways, Marshall also says they have a Nitro party going on in Charlotte, because of course they do. It's Lee Marshall and he's in the city. It's going to be a Nitro party. Hall describes the end of this as the velvet tones of Lee Marshall, and he's right. We okay, Scott Hall. We okay now. I gave it an A. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Hall recognized game, and he was like, Lee Marshall, you got game, friend. I mean, how can 100%. You not? I mean, that's Tony the Tiger, bro. It's Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, and Scott Hall's the kind of guy who would break the fourth wall on that. I'm surprised he didn't mention that.
Yeah, that would have been good. That would have been good. But speaking of Arn, Arn's in a match. He's against Jim Powers. Okay, whatever. We're back to jobbers. 3 minutes, 8 seconds. Tell me about it.
Hall says he's sick of people puffing themselves up when they're referencing the NWO. He puts over Arn, though, as the only one who actually can do that because Arn can back it up. All right, Scott Hall, I see you. Arn eventually wins this with the DDT. The match is fine. Commentary continues to be great, and especially Scott Hall is so damn good. I gave it a B.
It's kind of fun, just like, obviously they're characters and they're playing characters, but I do, Arn's one of my boys, and I do appreciate that they just clearly have love for the guy. Like, they know he's one of the greats, and they're talking shit, but they got, but they give him his credit where his credit's due. Now, in a couple of months, fuck him.
I was going to say,
fuck him.
Not when September rolls around.
I'm coming for you motherfuckers in September. What you do to Arn Anderson.
I can't wait to talk about that.
That will probably just be screaming. Like the mic might not even pick it up. Like I'll just be screaming so loud it's just gonna cut it because it's too high on the register. Anyways, yeah, another jobber match made better by some good commentary. But after that, though, we've got the match of the night, in my opinion.
No, this is not a debate. Yes, it's the match of the night.
I'm just gonna. I don't even think I have to justify why it's match of the night. I think I just have to say who's in it, and you understand why.
Yes,
Chris Benoit, Steven Regal, done. That's match of the night. I don't even have to watch it. Just looking at the card, I know that's match of the night. But I also watched it, and it is 6 minutes, 26 seconds. Tell me.
The crowd chants USA, USA. They clearly don't realize Benoit's Canadian.
Neither of them are American.
Very quickly, Regal gets busted open. He really does, and it's bad. They go to a wide shot for the duration of the match, and I'm fairly positive it's to not show all the blood that Regal has on his face, as this really hasn't been an acceptable thing you could have on TV at the time. Hall cleverly says it's because they're looking for a Sting sighting. That's why they're at the wide shot, which I thought great cover up from Hall. Benoit hits his gorgeous diving headbutt that we still cringe at. And they do that spot Scott likes with the tombstone reversals where they just kind of flip around each other for one of it.
Love that shit.
Benoit eventually hits a dragon suplex and a bridge pin for the win. This match is breathtakingly gorgeous. These two are just so damn good in the ring, and you should watch it. I'm bending my rules by saying the NWO on commentary counts as a storyline, and this gets an A+. This is so good.
Yeah, this is great. When you get Steven William Regal in a match with another like wrestler like Benoit or Jim Duggan or a lot of these other guys, you're gonna get a masterpiece. William Regal is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yes.
And when you pair him with another legend, they're gonna, you don't need a story.
Yeah.
They tell stories in the ring, which is so hard to do. I think there are very few people that can tell a story in the ring like William Regal can.
I agree.
Love you, William. Come on the show. And I love you so much. I'll probably just be stupefied and end up like Chris Farley. Remember when you fought Jim Duggan? That was awesome. You're like, yeah, no, I don't actually remember that match because it's not a big deal.
Yeah, random episode of Nitro.
Yeah, just a random episode of Nitro, but it's so good. Every match he's in is so good. Mean Gene with Arn, Steve Mongo McMichael, Deborah, and Chris Benoit. And they said, they say, hey, WCW looking for leaders? You got to look no further than the Horsemen. And then Mongo's kind of like, hey, I don't like you messing around with another man's woman to Benoit. And Benoit says, shut it, bitch. He don't say it like that, but yeah. And then Deborah talks a lot too. There's a lot of Deborah.
Yeah.
What'd you make of this? It started out okay.
Yeah. So it starts with Arn. He says that 1 week after being broken in half from the torture rack, he's getting the thrill of driving someone's head into the mat, which is how he won. He tells Luger he isn't a quitter or a coward, but the Horsemen are refocusing on WCW leaders and supporting Piper. But they're only as great as the sum of their parts, and one part is missing. He asks Benoit where Woman is. Benoit says Woman is taking care of Horseman business like she always does. And Arn says, no. If she was taking care of Horseman business, she would be right here with the rest of us. Benoit says, make no mistake. Woman is as much a horseman as everyone standing here. He says through thick and thin, they've always kept their side of the bargain up. Then Mongo says he can only give Chris some advice from his own personal experience. This is where the whole thing derails, just so everybody knows. Not long ago was he part of another great team that should have been a dynasty, and it didn't happen. Why? First off, with a little victory comes a little ego. Guys start worrying about their own personal agenda, and it tears it all apart. That is factually not true. 1985 Bears were 15-1 and won the Super Bowl behind excellent defense and an all-time running back in Walter Payton. In 1986, Walter Payton began to show his age by week 6. Though cumulatively, his stats were decent, by the playoffs, he rushed 14 times for only 38 yards in that game. The Bears then had to rely on their dog shit passing game. Their 1985 QB was Jim McMahon, who was dog shit and was carried by the previously mentioned items of defense and running. In 1986, McMahon got hurt and was replaced by equally dog shit alternatives, including a QB that Buffalo Bills fans will swear up and down was great, and Doug Flutie. He wasn't. With both no run game or passing game after 1986, the Bears would fade into mediocrity where they still reside today. Then Deborah says that she is...
Hold on. I got to stop you there. Because I think you completely misread what he was talking about. He wasn't talking about football, bro. He was talking about how he betrayed his boy Kevin Green.
Oh, goddamn.
Because we could have had one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And he betrayed him.
No.
Kevin Green.
Love Kevin Green. No, would not be one of his tag teams of all time.
You don't know that. Anyways, tell me what Deborah said.
Then Deborah says that she is sick of listening to Nancy fawn all over Chris Benoit. What the fuck is going on? Deborah then says this all started when she was Little Miss Alabama and prom queen, and then she talks about every other little award that she's won. What does this have to do with anything? What the fucking fuck is this? I have no idea. This gets an F from me. I hated it. This was fine. And then Mongo and Deborah tanked the shit out of this.
I think Deborah's a little threatened by the woman. I think she's just like, oh, I'm the pretty girl in the Horsemen, and if you're gonna try and muscle in on my pretty territory, may I remind you of all of my beauty accolades? I don't know. I don't like it. But we get Lex Luger and Rocco Rock. Not match of the night, but Lex good in it. 3 minutes, 56 seconds. What'd you think?
My first note here is, geez, Nash jokes about buying ECW and Bischoff says, oh, do you have $3 on you? And then Hall says, great thing about that is you can play bingo while you're there too. God damn.
I also have one in there where on the ECW thing where Nash says it could be the fourth wrestling company after NWO, WCW, and some Japanese company. I thought that was good WWF shade because it wasn't so in
direct
your face. Yeah. Anyways, go on. I'm sorry.
Not much happens in this. Luger wins with the torch rack. I gave it a C, but the ECW thing, Bischoff fucked over ECW, but that line is fucking great. I'm sorry, it was.
Yeah. Paul Heyman, if he saw this episode, steam probably came out of that man's ears at that segment. That would be he rightfully pissed about that, especially after, like you said, how Eric kind of just raided his organization, his company. Well, that leads us to our main event. We've got it. You wanted it. Sting versus Rick Steiner. 1 minute. What? Joseph, explain this one to the audience.
So Rick comes to the ring with Scott, and Sting comes in through the crowd with his trademark black bat. This is the first time he's had it. He has had a bat before, but it was a red one. This is his black bat. This is what he'll be known for. Sting turns his back on Rick like he did with Lex Luger a few weeks ago, and Rick immediately attacks him. Sting takes a few good ones, but ultimately hits the Scorpion Death Drop. Instead of going for the pin and the win, he then grabs his bat. Rick eventually gets up and he points the bat at Rick. Then he hands it to him and he turns his back on him. Rick, who's incensed by this, goes to swing, but Scott Steiner stops him. Sting walks away up the ramp. He gets to the top of the ramp. He points his bat at the NWO. Then he walks back down the ramp and back to the crowd, and he leaves. It's completely ambiguous, and I gave it an A+. I love it.
It's like the ending of No Country for Old Men.
I'm sorry, do you like that movie?
It's one of the greatest movies of all time. And it ends ambiguously. So just what I'm saying is just this is a masterpiece on par with the Coen brothers.
Damn.
I'm being a little facetious.
That's a bold statement.
But you're right. You're right. I did like the way it ends kind of ambiguously. Is it a good thing they didn't hit him? Is it a bad thing they didn't hit him? What did it mean when he pointed at the NWO? Whose side is he on? I feel like this is You don't have to just constantly be like, is singing the NWO, is singing the NWO, and singing the NWO. Just let them tell the story, right? You don't have to throw it in our faces. I thought this happened really well. I thought this was a really good way to end. And then I woke up. And I realized that I had to watch Raw next.
Yep.
And then my dream turned into a nightmare. Because, like I said, every time we start this, before we start, I say, is this the worst Raw ever? And you say no. You say that one Raw that we said, even the title of the program, worst Raw ever, that was worst Raw ever. And this week, ladies and gentlemen, when I asked Joseph that question, I said, is this the worst Raw ever? He said, I'm not sure. And that's scary. That is scary, ladies and gentlemen. It is so bad. New Haven, Connecticut, New Haven Coliseum, we're still there. They have learned their lesson of putting their best match at the end, but the problem is they don't have another match because everything is garbage until then, and even that match ain't really good.
Yeah, their best match isn't that great.
No, their best match is not good. Anyway, let me go back to the top of my notes here. Flash Funk and the Goon, because I don't think anything else happens. 5 minutes, 55 seconds. That's too long. It's too long for Flash Funk and the Goon. Tell me about this Flash Funk and the Goon match, Joseph.
Vince acts like he's hip or something, dancing with Flash Funk, and it's embarrassing. Also, what the fuck is this match? Fucking kill me now. Too Cold Funk wins with the Drop the Bomb, which is a very impressive moonsault leg drop. Match is stupid, though. I gave it a D.
It's terrible. It doesn't get better. And really nothing's going on. Like, there's nothing, we got.
His brain just broke right there.
Yeah, because there's not even like story stuff happening. That's the other crazy thing. Like, there's nothing between these matches because we just go straight to the next match, and we've got Fake Diesel, and Phineas Godwin, and there's nothing. Like, I guess Jim Ross is talking about that, like, Diesel's great because is he still a heel? I don't know. But he's like talking this Fake Diesel up. It's not working, Jim. Stop it. 3 minutes, 43 seconds. Jesus.
Jesus can't save us on this. We have our first of a series of dog shit Royal Rumble ads where two guys are camped out in the stadium months early, and it exists.
I forgot about that. They're terrible.
Yeah, it exists, and it isn't funny. It's kind of like every Peyton Manning commercial that we've been subjected to since 2004. Dude was funny one time on SNL, and then our lives were ruined.
Wait, did you say Peyton or Peyton?
Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna slap you. So apparently, and this is true, Tiny Tim died. So we get a flashback to him on Raw in 1993. If you don't know who Tiny Tim is, he was, I guess you could call him a musician. He's really kind of like a comedy music mix. Very weird, strange guy. And what he was most known for was his rendition of a very old song called Tiptoe Through the Tulips, which is most recently famous as kind of the theme song for the lipstick-faced demon in the Insidious horror franchise. That franchise is incredibly flawed, but I thoroughly enjoy it. So there you go.
Do they use the Tiny Tim version?
Yes, they do. It's okay. His version. Yeah.
So if you see that's because I was going to try and explain which version. It's the high pitched one, but if you've seen Insidious, then it's that version. That's Tiny Tim.
Yeah. It's when they go into the his lair and you hear it playing, and every time you see him in his lair, it's playing. Also, this match is going on, and Fake Diesel hits the fake jackknife powerbomb, and it gets enough. It's bad.
Yeah, and Jim Ross makes fun of Tiny Tim too. I got that in my notes. Like, they just don't talk about it. Like, Jim Ross says, or I'm sorry, not Jim Ross. Jerry the King, not Jim Ross. Good guy, Jim Ross. Even if he's a heel now, I think Jim Ross been like 9 doing that shit. But Jerry's like, that's fine. I'll talk shit about Tiny Tim. The man died. Jesus.
I will give a little defense on Jerry on this one.
Okay.
Because the context of it is when they're showing him back in 1993, they're showing kind of like a feud between the two. So it's kind of a continuation of that. It's still not right, but I at least kind of understand from a character standpoint why they would think it was a good idea.
Yeah. After that, we got Shawn Michaels.
Uh-huh.
And Shawn's just telling us that he doesn't have problems with people, which Shawn. We'll see about that, Shawn. But he does have a problem with Sid because he hit Jose with the camera, which the camera apparently didn't knock Jose out. It was the heart attack. it was the fake heart. I still hate that. I'm still mad
Yeah.
about how terrible that was. Just hit him with the camera. It's enough.
Yeah.
And so he's gunning for Sid. He's mad at Sid for hitting Jose with the camera. I didn't really like this. What'd you think?
I hated this. I hated this. And you know, Sean is my boy, but I hated this. So he starts by wanting to apologize for last week for not being defensive enough. But then why would you apologize? It makes no sense. But also, if you remember listening last week, we talked about how well he did in that. He was fiery, he was intense. It's a little long, but it was really well done. Then they go right back to like pure babyface Shawn in this, and I hate this. It's the literal worst kind of Shawn Michaels. After DX happens, he will never be this pasty white babyface again. Even as a babyface later in life, they'll have kind of a charm and cheekiness to him that's really, really well done. This is dog shit like the whole show has been thus far. I hated it. I gave enough.
Stone Cold has to break through that glass.
Yes.
To show Vince that anti-heroes work. Because I think Stone Cold right now is still a villain, right? They don't understand that, no, he's the hero, right? But I feel like Stone Cold is the first one when they're like, oh, you can be the good guy and be kind of bad.
Right.
So he's got to crash through that glass for us. Anyways, let's move on. Just in case you didn't get my reference, in case my reference wasn't clear enough. Justin Hawk Bradshaw versus Double J Jesse James. I don't give a shit about this either.
My first line is fucking kill me now. We will ultimately like both these guys, but not like this.
No,
not like this.
Not like this.
But wait, Bradshaw wins with the clothesline from hell. So I'm giving this shit an A for a debut of one of the greatest finishers known to man.
Hey, there we go. There we go.
We got a positive. We got something positive on this show.
And then the highlight of the night for WWF Raw.
We just had the highlight was the clothesline from hell.
Are you saying that Karate Fighters is not the highlight of the night?
Yes, that's how dark of a place I'm in, Scott.
That Karate Fighters don't even get you excited, man. That is. I'm concerned. I'm concerned for your well-being right now. If Karate Fighters don't even bring you back, well, it's a highlight reel of. This was just kind of funny to me. Like they're even summing up the Karate Fighters like tournament, like it's a real wrestling event where they're showing us the past moments. Mr. Perfect and Jerry Lawler and Sable and all of them. Apparently Lawler and Sable are going to the finals. This was insane how much they put into this, like it was like a real wrestling event. And I laughed really hard at it. And yeah, I liked it. What did you think of this?
I think it's hilarious that they put more time and effort into storylines for a fucking brand sponsorship than they do their actual show.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we go to London because Sid and Bret Hart are in London, and what? It's just like, what is going on? I guess they did a show in London, and Sid and Bret Hart are there, and Owen and Bulldog are also in London, and they're getting mad at each other, and there's gonna be a fight. This is to set up the pay-per-view. This is gonna be Owen and Bulldog versus Sid and Shawn, I think, or something like that. There's a tag team match. Bygones be bygones and all that bullshit. That's what this is, but we don't know that yet, and it's just stupid. Also, there's a fun fact. Mr. Perfect is done in the company. I forgot about it until you mentioned him in the Karate Fighters thing. He's done. Yeah, they actually they talk about him being removed too. They make some comment during the Karate Fighters thing about like he quit because he was, I can't remember, but they make some. They talk some shit about him during the Karate Fighters thing. It's
wait, they talk shit about a guy who left? No, I don't believe you.
Yeah, no, Kurt Hennig, they implied like he was a coward or something because he quit the tournament or I can't remember, but I was like,
I want to say
Karate Fighters.
I want to say on the WCW one when they did the hotline, Superstar Hotline, whatever they call it, that they talk about like, oh, there's a rumored another person coming, and I'm pretty sure that's Kurt Hennig.
Yeah, no, I think he's done because like I said, I do think they throw. I I can't remember off the top of my head, but I just watched this one, and I do think
you should just rewatch it and let us know when it happens.
I'm not rewatching this episode. But I'm pretty sure they talked some shit about Kurt Hennig during the Karate Fighter segment. What the fuck? Jesus. Well, that brings us to our main event, and WWF has finally realized that you put your main event at the end. That said, it's a shitty main event. It's Jake the Snake and Mark Marrow and versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Billy Gunn, which are all fine, but why? Why are we doing this? And it's 11 minutes and 19 seconds.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Jake looks really bad here. He either has or is about to have a relapse with drugs and alcohol, and it's honestly kind of sad to watch. Like, he does not look good. This is far more in line with the main event match. That's actually one of my notes. So, kudos to you bringing that up. But it does feel like like too little too late, in my opinion. Ultimately, Hunter and Billy start arguing, and Billy leaves. Jake and Marrow double team Helmsley, and Marrow hits the Wild Thing for the win. The match is okay. I gave it a C. It's not a bad match, but it's just whatever. And that's how we end the night. And it's just a whimper. We just got on a whimper.
I mean, the whole thing was a whimper.
Yeah, it's true.
There's not a single good match on Raw tonight.
There is not a single good segment tonight. So even like promos and stuff, there's nothing.
Yeah, even the Karate Fighters one, which I usually enjoy just because of how silly they are. Like, it was too much. Like, they're putting more production in these Karate Fighter segments than their own segments. I don't need a recap or any of that shit. It's toys. I don't need a recap of the tournament. Just fucking do the tournament. Like, yeah, nothing. I mean, I guess you got the clothesline from hell, that might be the highlight for Raw.
That is the highlight. And look, I was joking when I said that match gets an A. It doesn't. That match was fucking stupid. But that was at least like, oh, okay, there's something.
Well, I mean, I'm so glad you said that, because you get it again next week. You get that match again next week.
Match?
Yeah. You get that again next week. So I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Why, God? Why?
But you also get, I think, Undertaker and Mankind, if I'm remembering correctly. So they'll probably put that first.
Yeah. And Taskmaster will be, or not Taskmaster, the Executioner will be heavily involved, which will be great.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's a good point. We're doing predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Just how bad, just, I've been very successful at some of my previous workplaces because I just assume the worst thing, and that's what's going to happen. And I feel like you just do that with Raw at this point. So you just assume what is the worst thing they could do, and that's probably what's going to happen. So I'm betting you're right. There's going to be some Executioner interference in the Undertaker Mankind match, and it will not be good. I'm just looking at you, bro.
I got nothing.
I was just looking at you as you're just like staring. So Joseph has his camera on, and I just see him just staring off into space, trying to determine where he went wrong in his life that has brought him to this point. And I feel that. And I really feel that. I hear you and I respect you. But why are we doing this?
We're doing this because we have people who listen and we love them and they're very kind, and we do this so that way they can listen to us lose our fucking marbles.
That's beautiful, man. And that has reinvigorated me. I'll do one more episode. I'll go one more. Every week it's am I going to do this again? Yes, I'm kidding, folks. We're going to do this. Joseph knows I'm one of those guys that once I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it even if it kills me. So, and this may kill me. Raw 96 may end up killing me, but I'm going to do it for you, the fans. Thank you so much for listening. You're the only reason we haven't given up doing this, because it's so bad right now. But we're doing it so you don't have to. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Monday Night Wars. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey everybody, it's Joseph. And guess what? Not only can you listen to us every Monday on Spotify, but you can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube Podcasts as well. Just search for Monday Night Wars Podcasts. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Twitter at MON Night Wars Pod, on Instagram at Monday Night Wars Podcast, or just email us at mnwpodcast@gmail.com. And finally, subscribe to our Patreon at Monday Night Wars Podcast. For $2 a month, you get every pay-per-view from WCW and WWF during this era, as well as additional content later on. Once again, thank you for listening. We'll see you here next time on the Monday Night Wars podcast.
Waiting for that truck to leave.
I knew what was happening. This guy's gonna linger for a few minutes.
He's just gonna idle. All right, let's just keep going. The mic doesn't even really pick it up, so it's not a big deal. But I just figured might as well just wait and let it, just in case.